Chapter 5, Rebuilding Our Economy. I built the greatest economy in the history of the world, but in just 3 years, disastrous Joe has run our once beautiful economy completely into the ground. With his massive tax hikes, his woke anti-energy crusade, and trillions of dollars in wasteful spending, Biden has caused the highest inflation in half a century and increased our interest rates to crushing levels. It's a total disgrace. Taxes so low you can't even see them. Corporate taxes are an un-American burden on companies trying to maximize profit and making their shareholders rich. Being a business genius myself, I always made sure to pay as little taxes as possible, which is one of my many greatest business achievements. Joe Biden's disastrous tax hikes have hurt American businesses, which as a result have been forced to move their production abroad, killing millions of American jobs. To restore American competitivity, I will sign an executive decree on day one, repealing all of Biden's corporate tax hikes. I will also lower income taxes for Republicans to zero. At the same time, I will double income taxes for Democrats, since they are the ones who have run up the government debt to outrageous numbers, for instance, through the trillions of dollars Biden has spent on his crazy Green Deal crusade. Democrats are also the ones who are always whining. They want a bigger government that picks up the tab for every welfare queen and Joe Schmo couch potato. So let them pay for it. Regulation decimation. Unnecessary rules and regulations are another thing hurting American businesses. You wouldn't believe how many rules there are for building a simple skyscraper in New York City. Safety regulations and construction regulations and noise regulations and environmental regulations. Oh boy, don't get me started on all those environmental regulations. You can't even pollute in the privacy of your own skyscraper anymore. And then when the building is finally finished, you have to rent out a quarter of it to low-income leechers who want to live for free in the apartments you built. It's a total disgrace. It's got to stop, folks. It's got to stop, or we won't have a real estate business anymore. That's why on day one, I will bring back my tremendously successful executive order requiring that for every one new regulation, 2 old regulations must be eliminated. But I will bring it back even better than before, because this time 4 old regulations will get the Trump chop for every one new regulation. And I will go even bigger than that. Let me tell you my brilliant idea. We're going to introduce so many new regulations that with the help of my genius 4-for-1 rule, we are going to kill all of the old regulations. But then we will do it again, this time chopping 4 new old regulations for every one new regulation. And we're going to repeat this process, chopping 4 new old regulations for 1 new regulation, etc., until we have only 1 regulation left, 1 law to rule them all. And this law will be the most beautiful law of all times. It will be a law so amazing, so solid, so true that it cannot be argued with. I'm not supposed to tell you what Trump's law is yet. Don Jr. said it would spoil the surprise. But it will basically be this. Trump's law is whatever Donald Trump says it is. Government shrinkage. I will also put a hard cap on the cost of all the regulations burdening our economy. Under bloated Joe, the government has grown to the size of a morbidly obese whale. But I will make government shrink to the size of a starving ant. Each federal department will get incredibly aggressive cost reduction targets like you wouldn't believe. Departments that don't reach their targets will be sent to mandatory accounting class where they will learn to slash costs like a Jewish bookkeeper. Departments that do reach their targets will win an all-paid 2-week vacation to Hawaii for the entire department and their extended families. Just wait to see how fast that will shrink our bloated federal budget. You won't believe how fast it will shrink. People will look at the numbers and they won't believe it, but it'll happen, folks. Believe me, it will happen. I will also bring all independent regulatory agencies such as the FCC, SEC, CFCC, FTC, and EPA directly under presidential authority. For too long, these agencies have been handing down all kinds of rules and edicts all by themselves. But that's going to stop. No more shadowy rogue bureaucrats calling the shots. From now on, the only shadowy rogue authority that will be handing down rules, edicts, and decrees will be me, making tariffs great again. Under Joe Biden's disastrous globalist trade policies, foreign companies have flooded our country with cheap goods, hurting American businesses trying to make an honest buck selling overpriced goods. When I'm back in the White House, I will immediately end this unfair advantage and start imposing tariffs on all foreign-made products. It's time to start hurting foreign companies again. By increasing tariffs on foreign countries, we can lower taxes on American businesses so that they can have an unfair advantage for a change. Do we really need $5 sweaters and $2 socks sewed by 10-year-old kids in Bangladeshi sweatshops? Why can't we have our own 10-year-old sew socks and sweaters in American sweatshops? I'm a big believer in child labor. It teaches kids work ethics. My father taught me work ethics, too, after I graduated from Wharton with amazing grades. I graduated with some of the best grades I ever saw at Wharton. Unfortunately, I can't share them because after my lawyer threatened to sue them, if they ever released my grades, Wharton said they wouldn't release them. So the proof of my academic excellence will remain a well-guarded secret. But so after I graduated, I was headhunted right away by one of New York's most successful real estate companies, Trump Management. The President Trump Management immediately put me on a salary of $1 million a year, which I totally deserved. And within a few years, I had worked myself up from the ground floor to president of the entire company. If that isn't a self-made businessman, I don't know what is. In conclusion, Disastrous Joe has brought our economy to the brink of collapse. But on day one, I will repeal all of his terrible policies and unleash corporate America on the American people. Companies will be able to produce whatever they want, however they want, and pay whatever wages they want. Corporate taxes will be slashed to zero, so companies can keep all their profits and make their shareholders rich beyond their dreams. And jobs. There are going to be so many jobs, we won't even have enough people to do them, especially after we've deported all the illegal immigrants from our country. In my 50 years of running the Trump Organization, I have only filed for bankruptcy 6 times. That's not even once per decade. Think about that. And I promise you, I will run the American economy in the exact same way. Trust me, under my hugely successful, amazing business leadership, our economy will shoot into the stratosphere and become the envy of the world once more. Believe me. Please support my candidacy for president by buying the America I deserve at no good tax dodging, U.S. Postal Service leeching Amazon. Help make the America I Deserve the most popular book on Amazon. Let's show the American people the real Donald Trump.